Welcome to the running journey. Welcome to the running journey.
Welcome to the running journey.
Welcome
to the running journey. Running journey, yeah. Welcome to The Running Journey, a transformative podcast telling the story of two brothers faced with a very tough time in their lives that decided to do something about it, get healthy, get fit, and start jogging. The Running Journey will take you through half marathons, Ironmans, ultra marathons, and their attempt at qualifying for the Boston Marathon.
Don't forget 5Ks. Sorry.
We're certainly not going to forget 5Ks, Charlie. This is The Running Journey. Listen to us while you run.
That's a great idea.
Okay, I think we have our intro.
Hey guys, great to be here again today. I'm here with my brother Charlie. Charlie, good to see you.
Yeah, same.
The irony here is that we're actually in the same house. We're actually in the same building. But we are recording this. This one's a fun one because tomorrow we'll be running the, what is it called? The Big Bear. Is it just called Big Bear?
REVEL Big Bear Marathon. Yep.
The REVEL Big Bear Marathon. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. San Bernardino, right behind us, just outside of LA, kind of between LA and Palm Springs. That's tomorrow, Saturday, November 11th, 2022. It's kind of been a long road to this one. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I'm feeling like amazing, really great. I just don't want to be too optimistic, but yeah, I feel awesome. How about you?
Yeah, I feel good. It's always one thing when you're training with someone else or you're running with someone else and they're telling you how unbelievable they're feeling, and you're like, I feel pretty good, but I don't know if I feel that good. And you're like, well, maybe I feel that good. I don't know. I feel good. Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I haven't run a lot lately, and my taper has been so I had a cold, and then I don't know. When did you start your taper? 2 weeks ago?
It was like 3 weeks, but really more 2 weeks. There's a bit of a slowdown in.
What did you do 2 weeks ago, though? Your big run, wasn't it 20?
So 3 weeks ago I did 24.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks ago I only did 16.
16. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I did. Did I do my 23 or 2 weeks ago? I think I did my 23 weeks ago. It was a hard 20. It was I think I did 12 miles at 7-minute miles or something like that. And then 6 miles at 7.5, I think, with a mile up and down. And I think I also did 16 2 weeks ago. And what did I do last week? I think I did 8 or 10 last week. What did you do last week? Was it 8?
8. I did 8, very easy. So that was very little effort.
Is your long run Saturday or Sunday, or did you switch to Saturday to prep for this?
I did them all Saturday, except the 2 weeks ago, I felt sick like you did. So about 2.5 weeks ago, I felt sick, and I tried to do my long run on Saturday, and I actually pulled the chute on it. And then I did it on Sunday instead.
Okay.
And I ended up doing 16 instead of 19 that I was planning. But
okay. So talk about why we're here. Why are we here, Charlie? What are we doing here?
Well, we're trying to qualify for Boston, obviously, right? And then just get some more brother time, I think. But yeah, no, really, we're trying to qualify for Boston. Let's get serious. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, well, I think so. You know this a lot better than I do, but I know that so when I kind of started down this path, I had this vision in my head of 308. So I'm 40 to 45-year-old male. You're 40 to 45-year-old male. So our window is 310. It was recently, when was it dropped from 315 to 310? Like 3-4 years ago, something like that?
2020.
2020, it was dropped from 315 to 310. So, but I mean, 2020, I wasn't even jogging. So I didn't even know what a Boston qualifier was. To me, it was impossible in my mind to run a two. I think it wasn't even, but it became on the radar about in April when we ran Vegas, and then 323 we did, and I was like, holy smokes, I'm only 13 minutes away from Boston qualifier. So that's kind of why we're here. we kind of handpicked this race. So I always had 308 in my mind, like 308 as a goal. And the reason I had 308 was because you were telling me that, they bottom fill the Boston. They start at the bottom and they fill from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but they basically fill from the bottom. Faster times go before the slower times. So to make sure you get your spot in Boston, you need to run at least a minute or 2 or 3 faster. Is kind of what you were telling me. 308 should get you in, is what you had told me, right?
Normally 308 is kind of it gets you in. So up to 2019, the cutoff time started to drop significantly from 2017, 18, 19. 2019 was 5 minutes, almost 5 minutes. You needed to be under your time to make it. And then COVID hit. So a bunch of things happened where there was a lot less races. They canceled the 2021, I believe. And the last few years, everyone got in regardless of cutoff. But now we're trying for 2024, which will be just a regular, normal year.
Right.
And the last comparable year was 2019. And since 2019, they've dropped the cutoff times by basically 5 minutes across the board. So the expectation would be that maybe the cutoff times would be reduced. But I actually did some data analysis on this. And because of how improved the shoes are, and maybe there's just this trend of people having more time to run, maybe, I'm not sure, it ends up being approximately the same. So my estimate for what it will be based on available data is that it's going to be anywhere between 3 and 4 minutes below the cutoff is what we're going to need. So we're thinking 306 gets us in automatic, and 307 is going to be like a maybe,
Yeah. So I've always had 308 in my mind. So all of my training has been done at 308, like that, with that in my mind. So 308 is roughly 7:10, if I'm not mistaken, 7 minutes and 10 seconds per mile for the duration of the race. So that is my target, has been my target for 6 months now, kind of what I've been working on. And you asked me how I feel. I feel really good about that. I mean, I've been doing a lot of training and I lost a lot of weight, and I'm just way faster than I've ever been. And we did that half about a month ago and came in at 129. So feeling good about that. What do they say? Double your half and add 10 minutes or something like that?
I think, yeah, if you use all the online calculators, a 129 would convert to like 308, right? So we're right on the edge. It's a bit of an easy course, so we have an advantage there.
And the cheater shoes.
And the cheater shoes, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have my, what do I have? The Alpha Flies?
Yeah, the Alpha Flies, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have my Alpha Flies for the half. I had my...
Sorry, you've got Alpha Flies, yeah, exactly.
Alpha Flies, yeah. So I'm excited about that. I went out this morning and I put them on for the first time in ages, and I just totally forgot how unbelievable they feel. It's so good. It's so fun to wear those shoes. It's like, it's both a literal and figurative bounce in your step, because you literally have a bounce in your step because of the carbon plate, right? You're bouncing with every stride. You're actually bouncing. And then mentally you're like, man, this is easy. This is so easy. You have a bounce in your step. I know it's not easy to run 26 miles. I'm just saying those shoes certainly make it easier. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And you were saying for your injury too, it's been good, eh?
Yeah. So in April, I kind of had an injury, plantar fasciitis, and then and what these shoes allowed me to do is actually, so I started feeling better September, and when I started actually training with, you're supposed to race with these shoes, but I actually started training with these shoes, and it just allowed me to run way more miles with way less pain. Which has been, and really since September, it's been my best training month I've ever had. And so those shoes kind of saved me, actually. I mean, so I feel great right now.
Yeah, you trimmed 10 minutes in like a month on your half, right? Something like that, 9 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, so from September 25th to October 16th, they did 2 halves and 10-minute difference. I think maybe this September, I was doing a lot more harder training. Like I was less tapered maybe for the first one, but either way, that's 10 minutes. And I think it's just kind of my fitness came back as I started putting the miles back on. So I feel as fit as I've ever been in my entire life at 43 years old. So I'm cautiously optimistic for tomorrow.
I'm pretty darn close to the best shape I'm not the best shape I've been in because I'm still overweight, but like I don't think I've ever. Well, I mean, I wonder when I was 18 there and I was playing university volleyball and I was working out every single day and practicing every single day. I wonder if well, I guess I know that answer because I ran a 3:58 that year.
You can't. Training is everything.
Yeah, it's all training because I was in better shape, but I wasn't training. So I want to talk about two things on this episode. First off, I want to talk about race day strategy for tomorrow. I want to document that. I want to talk about that a bit. And I also want to talk about pre-day prep. So let's address pre-day prep first. So what do you typically do on your pre-day? So that day before your marathon, you've run more than I have. So you have a routine, you have a strategy. There's obviously bib pickup. There's, what else do you do? Take me through the day before you run your marathon. You get up early, you get up late, you sleep, you eat heavy.
Yeah. So first thing is just get up at a normal time. Try to get in as much sleep as you can. I'm usually so excited that I get up early. So I got up really early this morning. I like to always have
He was up at 4:30, folks. He was up at 4:30.
With the time change. So really it would have been 6:30 a normal wake up for me. So first thing I'll do is I'll do my morning run. I like to, this is optional, like depending on how much you've trained, but for me, I like having a run the day before, get up to race pace for about a mile. So slowly ease into that race pace, get a warm up in, feel good about that race pace for about a mile, and then cool down. And then make sure you get some carbs after and a bit of protein to get the glycogen replenishment started. And then eat a lot of carbs today and have kind of an active, relaxing day would be kind of my objective. Nothing too strenuous, but want to be moving a little bit, not, but very low stress. And then
what do you do on your jog, the day before jog?
What do I do? Yeah, so warm up.
Yeah, what do you do? 2 miles, 3 miles, 5 miles?
Oh, so I did 3 miles. So I did warm up about a mile and a half, then a mile at my race pace, and then half mile cool down.
Okay.
And that's just kind of, it feels like it makes me mentally prepared for the next day. That's all it's for.
Do you kind of prepare and go through and get dressed and wear your race day outfit? And do you do all that?
No, I didn't. Because it's going to be totally different weather. So because where the weather of this marathon is I just have to adjust for the weather, right? So no, I just do it as quickly as possible, get it done, feel good about it, and then go on with the day.
Do you always feel good on those pre-day work runs, or do you have advice for people sometimes when they're like, man, I had a shitty run today, it was hard, my hip was ugh.
Yeah, I think your mind can play tricks on you. So I think you have to remember the whole training that you've done. So what you do, actually any run that happens in the last 2 weeks prior, it has zero impact pretty much on what your performance is going to be. Maybe not zero, but almost zero. So it's really, you have to look back at all the training you've done over the months, right? And if it's good, it's good. If it's not good, then you just go with the flow, right?
I really like, for me, what's really, really works for me is I like the theme of focusing on what you can control. And today, what can I control today that's going to improve my outcome tomorrow is very little, right? You talked about diet, you talked about sleep, you talked about mental preparation, but 99.9% of the work has already been done. So I'm at peace today with what I've done to prepare for this race, which is, I've done, I set out a plan, I set out a diet, I set out a rigorous, personal training, and I did what I was supposed to do up until today. If tomorrow I give my absolute best possible effort and I come up short or I crush it or whatever, I'm at peace with any outcome because I focused on what I could control up until today. And if you have a bad pre-day jog, again, it doesn't matter because you focused on what you could control. What you could control was what's happened in the past, and you as long as you're at peace with what you've done in the past. Now, if you were lazy and you missed all your jogs and whatever, well, then don't expect to qualify for Boston, obviously. But if you set out your own goal and you hit those metrics and you hit those milestones, I mean, today is a day for me of just being, as little, just mental peace. You just want mental peace today, so that tomorrow you're ready to go, and you can't get down on yourself either for a bad start or
no, that's a very good point. Like, I mean, all the sacrifices we did in the last month, like we ate well. I had to do physio every night to make sure my injury didn't come back. So many sacrifices. So we did everything we could. I'm at peace with whatever result I get. And then tomorrow it's just about being in the moment and,
enjoy the day, right? Be in the moment and enjoy the day tomorrow. It's like,
but enjoy the eventual suffering that you will have to do and then overcoming it,
Yeah. I mean, the suffering for me is, I guess I'm a bit of a masochist, but I kind of, I enjoy it. Like, to me, I like kind of the mountain of reaching over.
But overcoming it is like such a great feeling,
Yeah, it's kind of like how I felt in the Ironman. Like, I knew it was going to be an extremely painful day, and I knew it was going to be like just not fun, and you were going to be sore. But I was kind of thriving. I was kind of like, this is what I want. This is why I chose to do this. Like, and then the reward is just that much better, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about game day strategy. So tomorrow, and we could talk. Really, I want to talk about this specific race. I don't want to talk about generally what you do. I want to document this specific race for both of us. We talked about our goals. So 308, you've been feeling really good. I've been feeling really, really good. You lost 15 pounds in the last couple of months. I also lost 15 pounds since Vegas, since our last marathon. We're both dramatically faster. You're the healthiest you've been. I'm the lightest I've been. And like, this is the most I've ever trained for anything in my life. So we're both in kind of peak. If we were ever going to do a personal best, it's going to be tomorrow, right? Assuming things go well. So let's talk about, you've said 30. I had 308. I'm actually feeling like 308 would be a disappointment, but regardless, like, my first goal is kind of, and now I think you said it's close, maybe 307, 306. We should be focusing on to BQ. Right?
I think 306 would be safe. Yeah, pretty safe.
Okay, so that's kind of like a minimum day goal, right, for both of us?
Yeah, I think 306. I think it's a target that we need to have in the back of my mind. But I think one of the things about racing marathons, and I think people get too focused on goals, and they don't actually run the race and just play it by feel. I think that is one of the things. Maybe your first marathon, you're not going to do that, or your first 3 or 4. But this is our 6th, right? So I think once you start knowing how a marathon feels like, a better approach as opposed to having a goal. You still have that goal in your head, like maybe the goal would be stretch 3. I think if everything goes well, maybe we can do a 3 hour. But the goal is still maybe 306 would be kind of the normal goal, and then there's a fallback goal to me 310, and there's a disaster goal of, if it gets worse, 320 or something, right? But those numbers don't really matter once you start racing, right? What matters once you start racing is, I think you got to listen to your body and execute kind of this strategy that you've decided ahead of time, and you do that by feel. In my opinion, is the best way to race. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you and I are kind of on the same page, and I didn't really get this, like, really. So, I mean, when I ran a 4:58, my first one when I started running about a year ago, and I just wanted to finish that one. I had no clue what a goal was. I thought I could maybe do a 4:20, like a 10-minute mile for the whole thing, but I got injured, and the whole thing fell apart. And it was just, the next one that I ran with you in Tucson, I kind of had a really deep stretch goal of breaking 4 hours. Like, I didn't know if I could do it, but I trained a ton, and I kind of just did it. You had more, you were stronger that race. But then the last one, 3:45 was my goal. And the key is that we just felt so good that we just kind of slowly improved the pace, and how we kept communicating with each other. We ran that one together, and it was like, how are you feeling? I'm great. I'm feeling good still. Okay, we're not going too fast here. No.
But at the same time, we held back, right? Like another key thing for a marathon is you got to hold back at the beginning.
Yeah, we ended up coming in at 3:23 for that one, 3:23, 3:24 for that one. So it was like, that was dramatically faster than either of us were expecting by a wild stretch. Partly because of the cheater shoes, partly because it was an easy day, right? Fast day, fast course. Like everything kind of came together, perfect situation, and we killed it. But you're right, we started slow. We listened to our bodies, and at the end, we let it all on the course, right? When I knew there was no way that I wasn't finishing, and my goals were kind of changing, and I knew that I had enough in the tank to finish. Well, let's go. Let's push this.
Yeah.
And do. And I trimmed 4 or 5 minutes in the last 5 miles, right? It's like,
yeah. And to me, another aspect of that is a marathon's is hard. Marathons are hard, right? And you're always excited when you start, right? And so I think in general, the best way to run a marathon is trying to do a negative split, where maybe you hold back a lot at the beginning, so that when you get to the hard part, not only can you you're going to finish, but you can push as hard as you can. You still have the mental energy and the physical energy to push as hard as you can at the end and leave it all out there, as opposed to maybe starting a little too fast, which I think is the mistake that almost everyone does, or I think a lot of people make that mistake anyways. And then you run out of energy, and you don't actually leave it all in the tank, because you mentally kind of give up at a certain point. It's a lot easier to not mentally give up if you kind of hold back at the beginning.
Yeah, and a negative split is a shorter time on your second half than your first half.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're doing maybe an hour 35 in the first half and an hour 33 in the second half. That would be a negative split for a 3:08, something like that. I think every race, I think, my last 4 races plus all the halves and the Ironmans and the Olympic triathlons that I've done in the last year have been negative splits, and I like doing it that way too, because you feel so much stronger going into the second half. Now the risk, obviously, which is a minor risk, but the risk is that you leave too much out there, right?
But what I find is that risk is kind of overstated. I feel like once you start feeling good in the second half, you start pushing it and you gain it all back. So by reserving that ability to push it later, you gain it all back. That's kind of how I feel, especially like half marathon type races. So I ran 8 races this summer, and I ran 4 of them where I was very happy with the result, and 4 where I wasn't happy with the result. And the 4 that I wasn't happy with, I went out too fast. Simple as that. And the 4 that I was extremely happy with, I went out very conservatively and finished extremely strong. So it's kind of, to me, it's like you might lose a bit of time if you don't go hard enough early, but you're not going to lose much, and you're going to feel great at the end. So
you might be sacrificing 10, 20, 30 seconds for a few miles, but the long-term benefit from that is that you're going to finish, you're going to likely do a PB, and you're going to feel unreal for the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, not unreal. You're still going to suffer, but you're going to know that you can do it, right? And then you'll have a great second half, right?
I think unreal is a relative term, right? It's
relative.
Like, I think of the last 3 races I did relative to that 4:58. Like, my 4:58 was one of the worst days of my life. Like, it was so painful the entire way, and like every single step I wanted to quit and then just get me to a hospital and like get me out of here. I can't do this. I'm dying. Like, I was not ready to run that race, and I that was mental anguish, and it was terrible, and it was not fun. And my last 3, I would call them relatively awesome, relatively speaking, relative to that pace. And the 2 marathons I did before that, I did a 5:58 when I weighed like 1,000 pounds back in 2008. And like, I should not have been on the course that day for sure. And that was not fun. And then my first one was, anyways. So tomorrow. Let's talk strategy.
Course specific. Let's talk core. Do you want to talk course specific strategy?
This is what I want to do here. This is what I want to hammer out. So we are running Big Bear. It is a downhill. It's what is it, 5,600 feet downhill, I believe, Charlie.
Yeah. So it's called a cheater marathon, I think.
That's okay. We're still running 26 miles. You don't need to to anyone. It's not like we're saying we're running 2 miles and we're doing 26 miles, right?
Yeah. But it'll hammer it puts a lot of stress on the legs, and we're going to be moving fast, right?
The first half is down, I think, 1,800 or something like that feet. So it's down a lot, but it's down way less than the second half. So what are you thinking for starting pace? And remember our goals and our stretch goals for those of you listening, kind of a 3:06 as a base goal and a stretch goal of 3 hours.
So 3:06 is about a 7:10 pace, if I remember correctly, right?
3:08 to 7:10, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is the first mile, because it's going to be so cold and it's actually kind of downhill, is to kind of target going out at around 7:30, and we're going to be excited, so it's going to be hard to run that slow. And then first 2 miles, maybe 7:30, just to kind of get warmed up. And then the third mile is the hardest mile in the course. It's at elevation, it's uphill, and it's not going to be something we're used to. So I am okay running that mile, something like an 8-minute mile, because it's going to be the hardest mile, and I really want to, like I said, hold back. I want to really make sure I don't kill myself on that third mile.
For the viewers out there, Charlie's the one every single race that we run that I have to pull him back.
Yeah.
He's the one going
so it's kind of self-talk right now to tell myself that I need to slow down.
Who are you trying to convince?
Yeah, exactly. So mile 3 to me would be an 8, and then maybe mile 4 is also a harder mile. There's a couple climbs on mile 4, so maybe go back to like a 7:30 for mile 4, and then 5 to 9 are apparently more rolling hills, so not so much downhill, but it's still a little bit downhill. To me, 5 to 9 would be to settle into kind of a comfortable pace, maybe like a 7:10, which would be kind of our goal pace, and then 9 to like 24 is all pretty significantly downhill. So that's where we hold back till about mile 14, 15, and it might be like a 650, who knows? I don't know how much the downhill is going to help us, but we're just going to kind of hold back, and then depending on how we feel, and then once we hit like 16, 18, when we kind of just adjust as we go, and if we feel strong, we go faster. If not, we maybe slow down a little bit, and but it's going to be by feel at that point, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I think the pace you've outlined gives us like a 1:35 first half split, something like that. So it might need to be a tad quicker than that.
Yeah. I'm thinking anywhere between 1:32 to 1:35 first half gives us an opportunity to be where we're at. If let's say it's a 1:33, and I think because of the way that course is made up, there's a potential of doing a 4 to 5 minute negative. It gives us a chance at, if we feel great, to do a 3 hour. If not, then we back into our 3:06, and then we finish it that way.
I like it. I do think that the fact that we're here is also like you're traveling, we have to take flights here. It's exciting in that you're not running the Manitoba Marathon on, in your backyard in Winnipeg, where you know everything about the course, you know the area, you know the volunteers. It's exciting, and that should provide some adrenaline. And also it's, like we said, it's downhill. Now let's talk weather real quick. Tomorrow's going to be very cold. One thing that I'm not used to. So I'm a treadmill guy. You're the outside runner. Tomorrow's going to be minus 5 degrees Celsius at the start line at 6 a.m. And we got to get there at like 4 a.m. So it's going to be like minus 10 or something when we're waiting for this race to happen. And then it kind of warms up to about 7-8 degrees, something like that, maybe 10 degrees by the end. So we're getting a 15-degree change. Anything you want to talk about that? How that plays for you? You're not too worried about it.
I'm a little worried. I'm not sure. I'm worried that at the end. So I don't want to be cold at the beginning. So I'm gonna wear, I'm gonna wear my warm shirt, an extra shirt, maybe long johns and my compression socks. And so I'm a little worried that that's going to be fine for the cold. I'm not worried about the cold part, because once you start running fast, it's gonna you warm up. I'm a little worried that at the end that's gonna get hot, but it's not gonna. I'm actually very little worried, because I think that's like pretty much the best conditions we could ask for, I think. So
there you go. There you had it. We are here with our dad, Claude, who actually is kind of the godfather in our family of running, who used to run 50-mile marathons as an 11-year-old back in the day. He decided to come out with us and roll with us and hang out in sunny San Bernardino, California. Went to Joshua Tree yesterday. Today, we're going to go check out the pre-race expo. We're going to go do that. Nice, slow, relaxing day, maybe some virtual golf, and then hit the hay early tonight after a bucket full of mashed potatoes and some chicken tonight. So any last words, Charlie?
no, let's just do it.
Yeah, for me, I'm excited about leaving it all on the course. And again, the most thrilling and exciting thing is that we've done what we've had to do to get here. So the last thing we can control is our race day effort. And that is one thing that you and I can both control. And we have to put 100%, not 110, but 100. If we could do 100% race day effort, that's it, right?
I got one more point on the race day effort. One of the things that's awesome about doing this together, I feel like the race day effort
takes care of itself.
No, we because we're doing it together, there's like an easy 20% gain on how much we can push, because we're doing it together. I don't know. It just feels easier to do it with someone.
It was one of the most painful things in my life to see me doing 3 minute and 55-second kilometers at the end of our last half marathon, crushing my personal best, beating negative split by a significant amount, and seeing you 15 seconds ahead of me because you had more in the tank than me. I was just like, how is he still going? And I was trying to go faster and faster. And so you're right. Like I found another gear when I saw you go ahead, and yet I still couldn't keep up to you. But it was definitely, it helps for sure.
Yeah. It's awesome.
All right, so let's hit this hard tomorrow. We will let you guys know how we did in the next podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you press the red button if you're watching on YouTube. Enjoy the race. Keep training hard, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.